So let's get into these techniques, shall we? What we'll do then is we'll start off with quite a formal, when I say formal, I mean precise kind of design. We'll do this, it's called a flute. There we go. This flute here. Now you might have seen this sort of design there. We're going to do something like that. These are called practice boards. It's about really being quite precise with your tool control to make sure you're drumming in the techniques. But again, a very usable decoration, which you could have around the edge of a bowl. You could have it as on the frieze of a fireplace, around the rail of a chair, or if you were doing a sign around the edge of a sign. They're all good, usable designs that you can have a go at. So remember that when I refer to the tool number, it's the carving by numbers tool number. It doesn't refer to the Sheffield list, the London Pattern Guide, or the Continental list, because it varies. When I'm just saying I'm going to use tool number 3 for this cut, it's our carving by numbers reference. And if you've got your own tools, just simply go to carvingbynumbers.com, download the project, measure your tools, your own tools, if you've got your own tools, against the chart, and you'll be on the same page as me in terms of you can follow all the projects with your own tools. Right, so here we're going to be in the center of the board. So what I've done is I've just marked out a series of lines. Gauge the width of that line by, if I set in, this is tool number 3, if I set in a vertical cut, it's in the pinch position, I'm putting a downward force on the tool, and I'm forming a little radius. Can you see that?
Yes.
You see that little radius by the natural profile of the tool. So what I would then do is I would set my dividers to that width, and then a second pair to half of that width, which gives me the gap in between. And then I would mark a series of those out down the length of my board, and I would use a square to actually form straight lines from it. Again, this is quite a precise form of decoration. The main objective of that is it's really going to put our skills to the test. It's really going to make sure we're using those foundation skills in a very precise way. So again, tool number 3. Now what I've got is, it's now in the fist position. I am, with controlled arm weight, just cutting down towards that setting cut that I've made. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And
that shows up real nice.
Thank you, Ruby Clare, because Ruby recommended that. She is so clever. Right. So because the depth of this is going to be lower than the profile of that tool, as I'm coming to the surface of the timber, I'm going to angle the tool, if that makes sense, so that this tip of the tool is higher than the timber surface. And the idea there is it's going to give me a nice straight line on the timber surface without breaking that out. And then same on the opposite side. And the goal, why this is precise, is because we want a very straight line on the surface of the timber. And that means, so if I show you that, so it means that on the surface of the timber, we're trying to follow those lines using the profile of that of the cutting edge. Now, you could say, well, I can do that with a router, but actually it's very difficult to get that clean shaped foot using a router. You could create this line, but you couldn't create that shape of a foot. And you see, as I'm setting that cut in, I'm angling the tool. So can you see how I will angle the edge of the tool as I get close?
Yeah.
And then again, I'm angling it in this direction as I get close so that I get a really nice, I'm not gonna, it's very precise at the top. In other words, it's not too deep there. It just meets nicely at that top point. Shall I do another one just quick?
Yeah.
And because it's anchored, I can't slip. The tool's in control, gentle arm weight. I can't cut myself because both hands are on the tool. Both hands are on that cutting edge. I thought something was going on. I can't see what I'm doing. This is now a problem, isn't it? A problem of getting a little bit older is I can't, all of a sudden you forget, where's my glasses? Right. I remember talking once, there was a gentleman at a show that I did in, it was in New Zealand actually. And I was doing a demonstration and he came up to me after and he said, you know, take advantage of youth because before you know it, he said, your eyes will start going, you'll be stiff in your joints. And I thought, oh God, what's it? I put a bit of a downer on it. But actually, he stays in my mind because now I think, yeah, he's right. Now I'm looking for my glasses and...
It's not easy getting old, Mike.
It's not easy getting old, Chad. Right, there we go. So that's flutes. So you see how that can be put and pretty quick. So now let's do... I know, we'll do something that would help you to create a design like this. So again, on the Carving by Numbers website, you can download projects, all these sorts of projects, and all you would do is you print it off on your printer. You'll print the designs off on your printer, carbon paper, get your design, put it on top of the carbon paper, mark it onto the timber, and then you'll get the design that you're laying out. And then this next technique will help you create those different designs there. I think there's over 3,000 different design ideas now on our Pinterest boards where you can just get inspiration from all these different patterns and print them off and adapt them if you want, and then put them onto your timber. Okay, so here is our next technique. So if we wanted to create any of these types of designs, all we're simply doing is we are setting in a cut. So I don't know whether you can see this line I've got. You can't really see the line, but I'm just going to show you. I'm going to set in the line. So imagine this line, which you can't see, but I can. It doesn't show up very well on the camera.
Once you set it in, yeah.
Yeah. So so it's in the pinch position. I'm setting in a cut. The tool is 90 degrees to the timber surface. So that setting cut is giving us a nice walled, it's got a nice straight wall down. So now imagine you've got your design, Chad, you've marked it on your timber, and with the various profiles of your toolkit, you are just setting in that cut.
Yeah.
Then the next bit is fist position. It's anchored, and now I'm just working towards that cut to bring that into relief. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So we want nice clean lines as we go. And I could use that tool then. Now how quick is that? It's actually really good fun to just create the designs like that. This edge, it doesn't have to be particularly precise, but you're just bringing that design into relief. Nice and easy. And even if your tools don't necessarily follow the profile of the line that you want, so let's say the shape of your gouge doesn't match the line of the design that you're doing, if you angle the tool, so if you actually angle, you see I'm holding it and I'm just using the edge of the blade to set it in, If I come here, maybe, does that show you better? Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Then I can change the radius. I can do a really tight little cut. Look at that curve.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, your profiles don't have to match exactly, because if you angle the blade, you can use it like a knife.
Excellent.
And so for that cut, we have a dedicated set. It's the pattern carving set. So it's a 3-piece set, and that way you can do those patterns, and you can also do lettering. See that little koala in the background? So lettering will be the next type of design that we'll do. This is a vertical cut and we've cut towards it. Lettering is formed by a V. It's 2 cuts coming in at like a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
The narrower the line, so if we go back to, let's have a look at Tom. Yeah, can you see on Tom, the lettering,
Yeah.
how where you've got different thicknesses of cut. For example, on the top of the T, it's quite narrow, and then going down the length of the T, so across this bit here, it's quite narrow, and then down in there, it's a wider line. Well, what this means is that the wider the cut, the deeper we go, and the narrower the cut, the shallower we go. And I'll show you how we do that on this side here. So it's really only, Chad, it's only those 3 tools. In that pattern carving set, it's 3 tools. And the steel in them is beautiful. They really hold a lovely edge. Let's do this. So a V, I'll use that number 6 again. So again, what I'm going to do, can you see that? Yes, possibly. I'm going to set in a cut here. This cut is going to be, so it's a vertical cut in the middle. And then I'm going to use the edge of the tool where it's thin to cut at 45 degrees. Can we see that?
Oh yeah.
And this is a little straight tool that you get in that pattern carving set, which is lovely just to nip that off. So the wider the line, the deeper you go. And then we're coming in on the other side. Hopefully you can see that, Chad.
Yeah. It's really neat how it comes together.
And it's quick.
Yeah.
So if, let's say, even if you had some, like, let's say you're a wood turner and you have created, a platter, and you just want to put your initials in the bottom, on the base of the platter. There you go. So you see how you've got that incise cut. You've got a V in the middle, you've cut down at 45 degrees. The wider the line, the deeper you go. The shallower the line, the shallower you go. And so again, with that, there's a whole bunch of different decorations that you can do. And this little koala, for example, this is a project that we've just put on YouTube. So basically I went on Pinterest, I found a similar design, I changed it a little bit, and then I put it on the timber. And these are just a series of 45-degree cuts.
Yeah.
Now, if you imagine, Chad, if you put paint in those low-lying areas and sanded it off, so you got the beauty of the grain on the surface around it, that would really make it pop, wouldn't it? Really make it come to life. But again, that's just those 3 tools. That's all you need. So the next part, so with those 3 designs that you've just done, if we take a look at these, for example, now all these are again a series of projects that you can download from the Carving by Numbers website, free. It's all free. If you've got your own tools, you can match them, or all of the tools that we have will fit. But basically, that is a setting cut. But now that technique that you used to create the flutes, it's just putting those 2 things together, because here you've set your design in, but now you've just got a long flute that's going around and creating all of these designs. So can you see how they're just advancements. It's a step-by-step progression, and
Yeah.
it all matches the numbers of the tools. You get it?
Having seen you do it, now I can kind of see the different ways the cuts are in those designs. Kind of neat.
And if that's not your thing, and you just want to do random stuff, like let's say you just want to do just random stuff around the edge of a bowl or around the edge of a table or a sign, for example. Let's just do some random stuff now. First of all, with your V tool. Now, we've made our V tool a little bit different. We wanted to make the V tool a bit more versatile. In the early part of the discussion, we showed how you had a V and it formed a V. This is almost like a hybrid of it. Can you see that at the base of this V, it's like a U shape?
Yeah.
If I set it in here, you might be able to see that. There. I think you can just see there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the point of that is it's quite versatile because you've got a veiner and it's a veiner and a V tool all in one. If you want then a sharp V at the bottom, you can just go down and clean that cut up. But let's just do a very random detail around the edge. Okay, it's in the fist position. You see that? Yep.
Oh, yeah, that looks great.
I haven't drawn anything here. It could, it's just random stuff. I'm just swapping hands actually, just to make it easier.
Yeah, that would really add to the edge of a bowl.
Yeah, well, it's just it's very simple, but it just would add a point of difference. And if you then add some color and texture in there, they're just random cuts, aren't they? That would just, it's so quick. But if you then, let's say that top was polished, but then you put some color in there and sanded it off, you'd have the color in those low lights. You could fill that then with resin and then sand over the resin so it's actually in there, but it's still flat on the surface. There's all different things that you could do. All right, let's do...
Here in Arizona, there's a lot of turquoise accents, so like stone would look really cool in the carvings.
Well, turquoise, this would be brilliant then, because have you seen copper? When copper goes... It's aged. It has something called, it's called verdigris, which is kind of a turquoisey colour. Mm-hmm. And if you've got copper sheet and you hit it with it's called planishing, you create all these little indentations. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen that, Chad? It's called planishing. Yeah. Yep. So it's traditionally done in copper, and then if you use turquoise as a colour, you'd get that verdigris effect. So let's do that. I'm going to use tool number 3 here. So planishing is just a series of tiny little indentations.
Oh, yeah.
So this is super quick. So this is just a series of tiny little indentations. And now if you washed your turquoise colour into that,
that would look great.
You wash your turquoise colour in, and then you might have to add a couple of other bits of colour and finish to get that verdigris effect. But this would look beautiful around the edge of a bowl. I've got some pictures of a finished one, but I think you get the general gist of it, eh?
Yeah, very cool.
All right, so you could wash indentation. All right, now let's do you remember that first example?
Mike,
so
question. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on, keep going.
If you were going to do this on a bowl, what's the best way to hold the bowl while you're working?
All right, couple of ways. So if you've got a foot on the bowl where you've taken it off your chuck. So you could actually take the chuck off the lathe, and then you could actually put the chuck in a vise, so that's holding it, or there could be some mechanism that you could have You could technically do it on the lathe, but then you're working on the side. I think I would take the chuck off and then put the chuck flat on the bench and then use it like that. Would that help?
Yeah, I've seen some mounts where you can, it's like a mount for your workbench that you can thread your chuck onto and it
Yeah,
pivots in
yeah.
different directions and things.
Well, that's it. And I suppose you might even be able to get something that goes in your tool rest that you could screw the chuck
Oh, sure.
onto and hold it in your tool rest, and then you've got a nice little carver's base. That's the example of that around the edge of a bowl.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
that's that first little decoration we did. So now we'll do this one. Can you see this sort of type thing here?
Yep.
Now, the key with that is if it's on a bowl, you do need those things to all radiate into the center. Because if all of a sudden they were sort of going off out of line, out of center, it would look a bit odd, if that makes sense. You see that, how it's still all radiating. Each of those lines, those profile lines, are radiating to the center of the bowl. And you can do that by put a little pin in there and a piece of string, and you just put that string over the top, and it just gives you a line to work to as you go. Make sense? So anyway, back to this here, which is so quick to do. They don't even need to be equal in terms of width. It's just a random series of little scoops, but again, with color and texture, you get quite an interesting effect. How's that look?
Yeah, it looks real good.
So around the edge of a bowl, that's another. So there's your six. That's 6 little decorations. And just to cover that again, there is the 5-piece set matches all of the education in the book. This was a book, the original book. There's loads of plans and projects in there. Again, you can download the book from Carving by Numbers website, totally free. The book matches this set of 5. And there's the DVD. You can download the DVD from the website too. That's all free. You've got a spoon carving set, which you can also do a lot of decorations with bowls, but the spoon carving projects on the website, this is your 3-piece spoon carving set. Pattern carving set, that's to do this sort of work. Or if you want all of them together, the 5, the 3 and the 3, you can get the 12-piece set. You get a tool roll and an extra number 12 as a bit of a thank you bonus. So that's available through Chad. But like I say, if you've got your own tools, match your profiles and you can still follow.